Hello, lovely listeners. It's the Media Beat, episode 86. And you know, every episode of the Media Beat is super, super special. But this one is super, 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 super special. And why is that? It's because it's the end of the year, or coming to the end of the year, and we're getting very excited about Christmas and very excited about the fact that nearly a year ago, our pundits, our top pundits, Maureen and Claire, made some predictions for 2025. It's episode 63. If you're an archivist. So I tell you what you probably want to do. You probably want to go back to episode 63 and re-listen to it. So I'll let you do that. Okay, are you back? Excellent. So you must now have listened to episode 63 and you'll be going, oh wow, that's what it was like at the beginning of 2025. So you'll have a nostalgic twinge, but you would also be very interested to see how they did. And I'm not going to give a spoiler alert. Obviously it wasn't a complete disaster, or we wouldn't be doing this episode, but there were some things that even the mighty Maureen and the mighty Claire got wrong. But let's get straight into it. We're going to go to Claire first. We had 8 topics, you'll know, because you just listened to episode 63 again. And the first one was streaming. Claire, why don't you kick us off with the predictions you made on streaming and how well you both did?
Well, Oliver, I think I did okay on streaming, and I'm trying to figure out whether I was just very safe or whether I was, I know everything in advance. I didn't get everything right. I predicted less money, which happened. I predicted tighter streaming economics, and I predicted more consolidation and more reliance on library. And I think the most recent shenanigans, which I know is the word that you like me using, between the Paramount and Netflix and Warner Brothers, etc. It just is absolutely a representation of all of these things: tighter economics, more consolidation, and a heavy reliance on catalog and library. So I think I got that right. I also said more bundles and cable and aggregators to become more bundles. I think this is happening increasingly. It's happened a lot in continental Europe. It's happening more in the US and in the UK as well. And that's very much about churn management. I said that I thought that YouTube would be fully normalized as a streaming platform and bundler. And I think we're getting to that. And actually, I was quite pleased as I was preparing for this episode that the news came up that the Oscars will be leaving ABC and stream on YouTube starting in 2029. So I think that's a pretty much an illustration of how far we've come in terms of YouTube being considered a fully fledged broadcaster, essentially. The one thing I didn't get quite right was I talked about the rise of arms dealers licensing to multiple platforms. And yes, licensing and third-party sales, I think, remain very much in the center. But the narrative has shifted and is very much more about consolidation of libraries and this arms dealer play, which we talked about when particularly around Sony, feels slightly less central, perhaps, than it did a year ago. So I guess, 3 out of 4. It's not so bad. How did you do, Maureen?
I'm probably doing okay because I think that I reckon we played a bit safe here.
So we have to be a bit better this year.
Yeah, we have to be a little bit more risque this year. So come back in January and listen to our predictions for 2026. But I also spoke about, consolidation and rebundling. I think I placed a greater emphasis on the monetization mechanics. I did lean heavily into growth coming from ad-supported tiers, and of course, as we know, Netflix has been very aggressive in that area. Bundling, of course, you've got Disney sort of recentering itself in terms of Disney Plus, Hulu, and ESPN Plus. And I guess the monetization piece has definitely hardened, and I think that's sort of macro economic driven. I don't think I commented too much on the sort of the arms dealer, but I certainly thought about the streamers were definitely commissioning more selective and probably prioritizing a more sort of exclusive and lower budget, higher quality projects. So they all definitely were leaning, all the streamers that is, were leaning, as we saw, into libraries becoming their real backbone and spine for growth. And we saw that with Netflix, and pulling out all those older hits like Suits and Breaking Bad. So Yeah, I didn't think we did too badly, but I think what we're seeing is probably a recalibration, haven't we? With fewer bets, more reuse of older hits and library, and clearly there's a repricing of risk.
Okay, I think we'll take that. All right. So next section. Yes, the next section was music, possibly my favourite. And I think maybe, I don't know if all three made of us a prediction here, but we'll see. Maureen, you kick off with music.
Yeah, so I was arguing vehemently that streaming dominance would definitely remain unchanged, and we certainly saw that with Spotify, to some extent Apple Music as well. But we did say that TikTok would be. Well, I said actually, I think Claire agreed, but I can't recall, so she'll have to comment on that. That TikTok was probably consolidating power over discovery. We did say that the TikTok could well be the engine for and will remain the sort of primary engine for hit-driven exploration and hit-driven experimentation. And I also lent quite heavily into the fact that there will be more touring and possibly immersive live formats. I don't know if I got this right or wrong, depends how you interpret it, but I thought AI would play a significant part in music. But clearly it's not in the curation side, it's more in the discovery side, and it's more in the tinkering at the periphery of music. And certainly that's around, recommendations. And of course we have the Spotify unwrap. But clearly copyrights are playing their hand in this. So I probably thought there'd be more activity on AI, but I think the labels and others and copyright itself has really sort of kept that moot at this time. So I don't know. I've got mixed results on the music side, I think. But Claire, I think you probably have much more risque observations on this one, if I recall.
Okay, this is the one I really got wrong, and I can see Oliver gloating. And you can as well if you watch us on video. He's got this very self-satisfied smile. I said the Oasis reunion tour will start, but probably not finish. And Oasis Live 2025 completed a 41-day, 5-continent run from July to November. There was no mid-tour collapse. They got together and they stuck together, and I got that one wrong. So there we go, hat in hand. I'm sorry, Liam and Noel. I underestimated your appetite for touring, clearly. So I'm very sorry. My other predictions, thankfully, were slightly more accurate. I talked about 2025 as very much around the year of the superfan, focusing on those, superfans, heavy engagement fans that wanted exclusive drops. We had this whole dynamic price ticket thing that came up earlier in the year, a lot of data-driven perks, and that the sort of passive casual listener was going to be slightly deprioritized. And I think, this is happening, perhaps not quite as fast as I predicted, but it's definitely happening. I talked about AI in music being mostly curation and discovery. That's still the case. There is more and more AI generated hit music, but none of them sort of dominated the charts. And I don't know why I said that. I said Spotify breaks the US and is finally the leader in the market. And indeed, they are. Spotify is now either slightly ahead or at least neck to neck with Apple Music in the US subscriber market, which is quite impressive considering they were coming from behind. So I got some of them right, but I definitely called the whole Oasis tour completely wrong. So Oliver, I think you didn't agree with me on that one, and you were right.
I didn't. I thought it was going to be a triumph. We have got a tweet in from Liam. Liam has just said, "Don't worry, Claire. We all get things wrong from time to time. Me and our kid have had our moments.
He's such a lovely lad.
He's great. He's turned into peace and love. He's on different drugs, obviously. So don't worry, Claire. Peace and love. Liam. See you in Manchester, which is quite nice. I thought of him.
Excellent. I'll be waiting for my tickets for the next tour, which I will not bet against.
No, they have a strong desire to tour and to rake in cash. I went to see them at Wembley with friend of the show, Jane Featherstone, and we sung ourselves raw. It was, to be fair, fantastic. Even if you weren't a mega fan, they put on a great show, supported by Richard Ashcroft as well. So it was an absolutely fantastic night, probably my best night of the year. So hard cheese, but still pretty good. And we'll move on now to Claire this time. Yeah, sports and gaming.
Yes, so I said at the beginning of the year, 2025 was going to be a smaller sports year because last year we had the Olympics, we had the World Cup, and we had lots of different things. But that live sports rights and ad revenues would continue to stay high or even grow. And I think that's what we're seeing. We're really seeing live sports continuing to be a central premium inventory for both broadcasters and streamers. We're seeing new people entering this market, as we've reported several times in past podcasts, new players coming in, putting enormous sums of money on the table. So I think it continues to be true, and perhaps it was a safe bet that live sports becomes, the thing that everybody needs to have in their inventory. I did say that I thought the sort of drive to survive style sports docs were going to plateau. I didn't see them continuing to be as big as, it seems a long time ago, but they were the biggest things, biggest thing on streaming a year ago. And I didn't think they were going to continue to grow quite as well. And I think that's sort of panned out. It continued, still there, but it didn't have any breakout hits this year. I think I perhaps was a bit bearish on games, which actually had quite a good year with the GTA 6, dominating, but we don't know the final details of the numbers yet. I think, I was down on consoles. Consoles remain very central. I maybe was a little bit negative on games, unfairly so. So we should do a topic on games. We haven't talked in detail of games recently, so that I need to brush off on my knowledge on that one. What did you say, Maureen?
Yeah, I focused on the kind of sort of the operational transformation of sports. So, and of course, then I lent into AI. I kind of predicted expanded use of AI-driven training, scouting, performance analytics. And of course, coming out of the music session, I was also talking specifically about deeper fan engagement through gamification, second screens. I kind of commented on perhaps there could be some sort of re-entry of the NFTs as sort of infrastructure rather than hype, but I don't think I even convinced myself of that. But nonetheless, I do believe and still believe, and we're not in predictions.
That was definitely a risque prediction.
It was definitely a risque one. However, I do feel comfortable that we know that all of the elite clubs, they've really expanded AI-driven wearables. They've got the computer vision. They're using performance analytics, and I know that also if you look at broadcasters and sort of consumer sort of side, the broadcasters are layering much more real-time stats. You got the second screen data. I think so pretty good actually. So I'm feeling okay with this side of the fence actually.
Yeah.
I did. Am I smiling? Aren't I? Yeah.
You did very well. Really
good about myself on this one. Yeah. But that said, I don't know about. I'm still got my eye on blockchain at the moment, but we're not in predictions mode. So I will bring that. I'll bring that up in January.
Do you know what? As a fan of the show, as well as a part of the show, I would love a deep dive on gaming. All the way from
Let's
Pong.
Definitely try to do that in January. We haven't done one in a very long time. We should do that.
And it's like a hidden world, isn't it? It's so massive. Things that we're not really part of. That will be an absolute brilliant one. I'll put that in the ideas for 2026 section. Brilliant. Well done, Maureen. That I remember thinking in January now. Yeah, I reckon she's nailed that. And you have. Let's move on. Section 4 or number 4. Yes. Media M&A. Well, we've got to start with Maureen on media M&A. So, yeah, probably difficult to predict. But how did you get on?
Well, I'm going to give credit to my lovely colleague here as well, Claire. So we were both sort of coming out of 2024, and we were saying things have got to pick up. And of course, in the backdrop of Trump coming in, we also thought there'd be a lighter touch on US competition policy. So everyone was sort of raring to go with big deals, big deals. So yeah, I was sort of saying that there's pressure on media groups to find either scale or basically break up everything and sell it all and exit. Oh, lo and behold, we have seen some major consolidation in media, but we've also seen consolidation in advertising and marketing. And there's been a lot of activity, and we said this, there could be more activity in the European media landscape. Definitely some interesting plays around sports and streaming. And so, yes, this is all playing out, and it will continue into 2026. So we've seen Media for Europe and ProSieben, we've seen RTL and Sky, we're seeing and there's it's active. It continues to be active. Potentially Sky and ITL, so they kicked off their conversations, and that will take into 26. And of course, I'd be remiss without saying we had Skydance and Paramount, and now we've got Skydance, Paramount, Warner Brothers Discovery, and of course, Warner Brothers Discovery kicked off in 2025 a whole restructuring. So I think Claire and I should both have pats on the back for this one. Yes, here we go. And I think also in sports and streaming, we're seeing DAZN. I actually wanted Claire to say that because I know she hates that and she butchers it, but I'll say it anyway. They have entered into discussions with Main Street, Sports Group, and the one thing. So the reason I'm just listing all these activities because I got one damn thing wrong, and I will be absolutely honest about that of course I was predicting that Elon Musk would go and buy TikTok and then merge it with X. But of course, all the shenanigans that are going on with the TikTok ban and nothing happening, and Trump just dragging it out for the entire year, it's still one, available in the US, and two, no one's purchased it. So in January, I will make a different prediction about TikTok. So I'm holding that one and bringing it. But otherwise, I got nil point for my Musk TikTok. Claire.
It was a biggie though, that one. It was a big call. Yeah. That one.
It was a gutsy one. Sometimes you have to make those big calls and get them wrong. All right. It could have happened. There was also the big Trump-Musk fallout, which was kind of hard to predict, to be honest. But yeah, I think, we were very aligned in our predictions. I said fewer mega mergers, more spin-offs, and more carve-outs and resourcing of portfolio, meaning, linear separating from streaming. And we did a deep dive on this, didn't we, with the Lego analogy, which I will bring back. And I think we're still seeing this, and the whole WBD breakup is very much about that. I think I also talked about this linear TV networks being spun out and then consolidated. I think we're still in the spinning out phase. I don't think we're seeing yet on the linear TV the consolidation that perhaps I was expecting. I think there's definitely some limits to cross-border consolidation on linear because of local regulation. So that's happening more slowly. I talked about ongoing heavy regulatory pressure on social. I talked about the US and Europe for that, and we have indeed seen that in 2025, especially I will say in Europe, but also to some extent in the US. And I had another call, which was that I thought Twitter/X was going to be potentially unviable by the end of the year. So I went completely the other way from you, Maureen, and I was also wrong because they're still around. So there you go. The two survivors of the year, TikTok and X.
Yeah, big momentum with those big, difficult things to turn around and stop, I guess. Not bad though. And also, I like it. You were bold. Why not be bold? That's good copy. That's good copy when we're bold and not too safe. So yeah, not too bad.
It's scary to be bold when you know that you're going to be at the end of the year going back.
Accountable. You've got to be accountable. But one thing, Claire, though, what about X? I mean, X lost its CEO.
Well, that's true. That's true. I did not predict that, but it's a fair point. Yes.
Good. Yeah, not bad at all. Yeah. And right. So we start with Claire on the next one. It's one of my favourites, AI and tech. Can't avoid it. How did we predict it?
So I think, I mean, this is really Maureen's topic, and she will have made much more accurate. And I will say I was quite safe in my bets because it's not my topic of choice. So I said that AI was going to be integrated into the value chain rather than actually in the proper creative process, meaning, you know, there wouldn't be an AI generated music hit or film hit, etc. And that's, you know, that is what's happening. 2025 was the year where AI became the recommendation tool of choice for everything from Netflix to Spotify to, every other platform really. But we haven't seen yet a fully AI generated blockbuster or music hit. So I think that's what I got. I'm quite glad, to be honest, that I got that one right because I would have been really a sad end to the year to some extent. And I talked about broadcasters and PSBs adopting AI to stretch their funding because obviously they're all it's very, very under a lot of financial pressure, and that is happening. Although perhaps a little bit more slowly than one might hope, partly because there are large companies it takes them a long time to do anything, partly because there are editorial caveats and unions, which are all good things, but meaning that progress has been a bit slower than expected or hoped for, perhaps, for them. So that was me. But Maureen, tell us about your bets and predictions.
As I would have always been sort of, half full rather than half empty, which is always going to be the case on this topic between us. But I thought you were sound and grounded. Actually, I probably was a little bit more enthusiastic and probably aspirational in some areas. But I did talk specifically about I was looking for AI embedding across the full media value chain. So from ideation through production, post-production, and also, distribution and marketing. And to some extent that is happening. But as you say, there's no one standout feature film, or there's no one standout TV program or music piece that really says this is AI as we will envisage it for the next 5 years. It's not there yet. But I did talk about that I thought that broadcasters would lead on tools for small, medium-sized enterprises, and clearly ITV has stepped up in that regard, and it's great to see that. So it's really opened up its doors for smaller advertisers. I did say that there'd be a growing importance of ethics and privacy. We've seen that with the EU AI Act. We've seen that with respect to sort of the journalism and the guilds, some of the guilds coming out. We're seeing the last couple of days a coalition of creators over in Hollywood. And we're also seeing both technology and the industry coming together to create the sort of really simple licensing to stop people from scraping stuff and instead, visibly using it. If you use it, you pay it. You pay for it. So I like the fact that the industry and the media industry in all different segments and technology vendors are now working together, and it's no longer let's run after them for lawsuits, but it's let's work together and let's figure out the monetization and the fair revenue share. So I think we're starting to see the operational side of AI now, and I'm liking what I see in terms of it's now being seen as more infrastructure rather than just silly proof of concepts and one-offs. So I think people are treating it seriously, and human is in the loop. And I think we sort of said that could be the case. But what I'm finding fascinating is and I did say this, that I thought there'd be more progress around video generation, and we're now seeing the titans battle it out. So you've got OpenAI Sora 2, and you've now got Google and VO3 just bashing heads. So and we can only benefit from that, I think. So yeah. So I think all in all, Claire, I think together we didn't do too badly on this. Again.
I tell you what would have been a good use of AI would have been to use it to make Russell Crowe actually sound German in Nuremberg. I feel like they really missed a trick there. It was there. It was there for them to use. I will say no more.
They should have used my favourite company of the year, a bit of a plug here, Respeecher, who worked,
Yes,
you know,
they
on some
should. Which
fantastic
who did
films.
the
Brutalist,
Yeah.
and did a superb
I
job for
know.
Hungarian. I mean,
Yeah.
at least, I mean, Hungarian is the most difficult language, you know, to master. And yet, for German, they could have easily done that. But I'm going to
maybe
watch
got a
Nuremberg tonight. Oh.
German actors agency, maybe talent agency.
Yeah, well,
could
that is the
Indeed.
other option. Let's not go there. Let's not go there.
Yeah.
Just
Exactly.
Give
We
you
didn't.
a chance to make my Russell Crowe impression. Oh, it's not very good anymore. Never mind.
That's
Sorry.
very
Sorry.
good. That is very good. One
been
thing,
on
Claire, we
earlier now.
didn't touch on was the rise of synthetic media, which definitely has
Yes.
surfaced with Tilly
Yes.
Norwood in particular, you know, so we didn't touch on that, but I'm sure.
That's true. And the number of AI generated, even though it's not a mainstream hit or anything, AI generated videos and images entering the mainstream with relatively little pushback, actually, and people being very comfortable with the fact that they're watching AI.
Exactly.
There was one where there was a little kitten doing karate, and somebody came up and said, "You need to know that this is AI because he's got a black belt, and you really need about 5 years of training to get a black belt, and that's a kitten, so it's impossible. Therefore, it must be AI," which I thought was hilarious. Anyway, moving on.
That's critical thinking. That's
yes, exactly.
Gen Z critical thinking. Good to know. No, that's good. I don't think. I think actually predicting there wouldn't be a synthetic pop hit. It was quite bold. I don't think that was so safe because the momentum was really there last year, and it was like, oh, there's bound to be one, and there never has been. And like you, I'm kind of glad about that, and I really hope that as a music fan, you'd sort of be able to tell. And if I come up with a track and say, hey, listen to this is absolutely amazing, and so it goes, aha, it's synthetic, it'd be like, oh god, I'm a robot.
And Oliver, what was the name of the group that came out that looked like the 1970s rock band that everyone believed and followed?
Oh,
I don't think it was that. No, I
everyone knew that.
I don't recall the name.
Oh no, I don't know. I'll
don't recall. Yeah, we should look that up. Yeah.
Yeah, or let us know, fans, at our LinkedIn page. So that was AI and tech. So we move on now to the sixth category. It's a tricky one. This one, digital advertising. Maureen, you kick off.
Yeah, I think I was raving about this, so it's not going to be a surprise that I mentioned that I was forecasting retail media was going to be the fastest growing segment, and of course it is, and was.
Hooray! Congrats!
Yay! Yeah, but I think also Claire agreed with me on that. Alongside, I thought that there would definitely be a sustained growth in connected TV. I was a bit more bullish on digital outdoor. I don't think it did shine as much this year, but certainly connected TV and, of course, retail media with the likes of the big players, Walmart. Also, you've got Criteo, you've got Amazon, Google. I mean, all of them are in this, including, of course, all the supermarkets. But I also did talk about and believe that we'd see more of shoppable video. And, of course, all of this is sort of underpinned by a big push in first-party data and closed-loop measurement. So I do believe also this is. I was expecting, I think, more privacy regulation that would reshape all the buying models. But I think the only thing that maybe programmatic digital outdoor was a bit more advanced than I predicted. Shoppable video definitely on TikTok and Instagram. We're seeing that continuously, and I don't think anyone's going to stop that. And so I think the retail media side is every single media planner is considering this. So I think we got this one squarely right on, actually, if I can put that way.
Yeah, and although I would say I agree. I mean, I said very similar things. I said, I said the ad market would have, mid-single, high single-digit growth, and I think we're going for about mid-single because there was not going to be a huge, Olympics or mega event, but it was going to be okay. And I think that's what happened. I did also say that retail and commerce media I said they were going to overtake total TV ad spend, which is not quite happened, I think, but they are neck to neck. So they've definitely, it's partly because streaming TV has really grown in parallel. I said that retail media might expand a little bit beyond Amazon, and I think some players are emerging, but I will say, I didn't talk about TikTok Shop, for instance, which I didn't expect to become that big. I talked about Walmart and Tesco, etc. And I think those are doing okay. But actually, the big one that's emerged is TikTok Shop. And we didn't discuss that. I said it was going to be a very tough year for media agencies, and it's not been a fun year if you work in a media agency. I don't think that was a very risky bet, to be honest, because the last 5 years have been tough years for media agency, but it's not looking incredibly better. The one thing I think that has started to happen that I don't think we mentioned at all is the rise of agentic shopping. So the rise of the big LLMs as a driver for online shopping, which they are increasingly. And I think, without wanting to move into prediction mode, that is going to be something that will explode in 2026, but it very much came up in 2025. And I think we missed that one, Maureen. It's not only about what we predicted, but it's also about what we didn't predict. And I think that one is going to be a major one, and we didn't see it coming, to be completely honest.
I totally agree with that. Yes,
I think you're being hard. It's a bit hard on yourself. We didn't set out to predict everything. I think we're measuring ourselves on what we did predict and whether we were right or wrong. I say we, I mean you, obviously. The TikTok Shop. What a biggie. By the way, we've had another tweet from Liam again. He's paying attention. He says this one's to Maureen. He says, "All right, love, which me, Liam again. Was the band you were thinking of the Velvet Sundown?"
Yes.
Yeah, I think it was.
Oh, Liam,
thank you.
Yeah,
thank you, Liam.
Thanks a lot, Liam.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Yeah, he says sound.
It's great to have this guy actual live tweeting a show that's being pre-recorded. I think that's what technology does for you.
This is such an underrated bloke. Not only is he a great singer, he's an incredible intellect / Time Lord, which I think is.
I always suspected, if I'm honest.
Yeah. Thanks, Liam. So yeah, the Velvet Sundown. That was right. Mock band. Look them up. Quite funny. Good. Sort of a hoax, really, but we quite like that. Naughty. Okay, let's move on. That was digital advertising. Content. Yes, not surprising, Claire. This is one for you. Kick us off on the content side. How did we get on?
So I got 2 out of 3 main predictions. I said, again, probably a pretty safe bet that 2025 was going to be a really tough year for production workers, and it was. So many people got laid off this year or didn't have jobs. There was the commissioning budgets was shrunk, the number of commissions went down, and a lot of companies went under. So there was along the value chain as well, not only in the pure production space. So there were it wasn't a good year, and it's not going to look good in the future. I also talked about traditional broadcasters pivot to lower budget, more locally focused, high quality, long running drama to differentiate themselves from streamers. I think that was a very smart prediction. I didn't realize I was that smart. This is actually what happened, although, outside of the US, nobody does those 24 episode series. But the US has started doing them again when they'd stopped and lent so heavily into shorter series. And they're doing really well for them, whether it's The Pit, whether it's Matlock, this sort of, or, all the Taylor Sheridan shows, who have slightly shorter seasons, but still, several much larger volumes than your typical miniseries. There's a clear indication that this is what broadcast can bring that is very hard to replicate on streaming, and they are leaning into that, which I think is very, very cost effective. I did not predict how amazing Celebrity Traitors would be, or that Adolescence would be the show of the year, but that was going to be very difficult to predict. What I did predict and didn't quite happen, I was sort of kind of hoping for the end of the mega franchise model. I thought this was going to be the year where, franchise fatigue was going to properly hit. And it kind of has. Some of the big shows coming out of the franchises have underdelivered, but some of them still did really, really well. And I think it's a little bit early to talk about franchise fatigue, which makes me slightly frustrated. Because come on, guys, how many Marvel's spin-off series do we really need? But yeah, it was an interesting year, I think, with a lot of things that felt quite almost retro. The long medical dramas like The Pit, long legal dramas like Matlock, a huge reality series that everybody watches together like Celebrity Traitors. Those were the shows that people were talking about this year, even Adolescence, which is very much a drama, not the high end, Hollywood star Nicole Kidman starring thriller, but something that's much more steeped into social issues. So I actually think it was a good year for content, despite what we said at the beginning, which was it was a difficult year for a lot of content and screen workers. So I'm okay with where we've ended up. What did you think, Maureen?
So I focused, if I recall, on cost-driven aspects. So the CFO now is paying attention. So I was looking at sort of the adoption of virtual production, sustainability, and so on, that becoming a standard. And of course, on the production methods, we've got virtual production really becoming a lever for cost control. So you've got LED stages, you've got virtual locations being used very pragmatically, which is cutting down travel, it's compressing schedules, and allowing really sort of, these late creative changes because of the cost, or because the revenue's not there and the cost, or advertising's not there, or just funding's not there, and you need to sort of control the cost schedules and budgets. So I thought that sustainability would be a driver of that, but it's more performative. So it's the CFO rather than the sustainability officer that's really playing the key role there. I also spoke about, and of course, AI has clearly stepped in to sort of support that. But I didn't focus on AI. I focused on the sustainability part and really just sort of the cost controls. As my second prediction, I did talk about how we would move into creator-led production. Well, not move into, but how that would keep growing. And of course, it's just been explosive into 2025. YouTube remaining really just the biggest engine and driver for the creator-led community. Of course, also TikTok, funded by the brands. Funded by other platforms, and all of these platforms really entering into revenue shares. So I really did sort of play up on that or play to that part. I think I might have hinted at, but this could be me rewriting history. I thought as part of the creator-led that I just building on the issues that we had with scripted and unscripted, but in particular scripted, I might have mentioned the micro dramas, but I can't see any notes that suggest that I did. That said, micro dramas and vertical dramas have really kicked off in the last sort of second half of 2025. But otherwise, it was more creator-led, social media, social platforms, really a driving force, underpinned by from a content point of view, and underpinned by the brands and revenue share programs. So, yeah, Claire, I thought you had a good hold on this category, as you always do in terms of content.
Yeah, I think the one thing I will say that production did look like it was picking up a little bit in the later part of the year, which I didn't expect. Actually, I thought it was going to be a terrible year all along, and it was a difficult year. But there are signs of there are some green shoots, which is nice. And I think perhaps I didn't quite. Neither of us spoke as much about the sort of social content. Again, we said it before, the sort of the ridiculous AI generated social content like the orange cat and all of this, which really exploded on YouTube and TikTok last year. And and then ended up, being quoted by brands. And I think, we didn't necessarily talk about that. But, I just a last stat, I talked about production pain, but Bechtu talks in March 2025, there was about 46% unemployment in commercial TV workers. Now, there is a recovery pattern, so we're hoping that it gets better, but it has been a very tough year. So I'll stick with my, again, not a pretty safe prediction given where we were in January, but it's been a tough year, and I really, really hope that it gets better next year.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No, still, safe predictions are still a prediction. I have to give you a warning, Maureen. Predictions that you imagine that you might have made don't actually count. Not in this game. Not in
I
this
just
game.
couldn't remember. I knew you told me to account, so I thought I'd say it anyway, and then withdraw it if indeed I didn't say it. So
That's right. I possibly predicted the emergence of Luke Littler as the greatest protege in darts ever, but I actually didn't. So, well done. Very good. We've got a spot competition now for you. So dial in or put your answers on LinkedIn. Who said this? I didn't know I was that smart. Was it A?
I can tell you said that. It's not the sort of thing I would say. So we know exactly who said that.
God, it's a good thing it's the last one of the year. Can you edit this out, Oliver?
No problem at all. Well, absolutely.
I like that.
I'll fix this in post. We don't want him to embarrass you in any way possible. So absolutely, we'll definitely take this out.
What does Liam think?
So yes, the answers are, and you might have had a hint: A, Claire Tavernier; B, Liam Gallagher. It's one of those two massive prizes.
You have said it too.
Yeah. Or yes, they both say it, but there's some merch available. Oh, golly, the Media Beat T-shirts. We should do that.
Well, yeah, I'd buy that one.
Absolutely, with one of our little avatars that you put together. That would be awesome. I'm really into that. So yes, if you know the answer to that, please dial in or put a note on LinkedIn. So we're in the home straight now, but it's possibly my favorite. I like the AI one and I like the music one, but this one I know you two like as well. It's the awards and box office. Notoriously difficult, fiendishly difficult, but I'm sure you did brilliantly. Maureen, you kick off.
Yeah, so I went out on a limb and I actually named films. I named films and titles. And if I recall, Claire was very smart by sort of just talking in generalities about genres and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
I didn't know I was that smart.
She's going to, exactly. She'll use that phrase again. You wait. In a couple of minutes, we'll hear it again. So I was very short. I said, Sing Sing, because it's a fantastic film. I said that should get. I was strongly backing it, and I did back it. And I also said I expect an excellent round of applause and support and recognition for Honora. And of course, I recall I was very solemn, and I was very disappointed with Nosferatu, which I said was absolutely diabolical, and that would everyone would agree with me. Of course, in reverse order, not everyone agreed with me with Nosferatu, because some said they liked it. It was an awful film, absolutely awful film. But I was so pleased with that everyone saw the light and stood up for Honora, which was a spectacular film, and indeed Sing Sing. So I got I don't know 66% right there.
Yeah, that's a home win.
Yeah, is that a home win? Oh, super.
Yeah, I'd say that's a home win. 2-1. Yeah, no worries at all.
Okay,
good work,
Claire, were you smart? Do you realise how smart you are?
I didn't know how smart I was. No, so I played it pretty safe, I have to say. Looking back at my category, I did name a few films, but I didn't. I said, there was going to be an increasing disconnect, and there's always been a disconnect. But it's true that last year, the year before, remember, we had Barbenheimer. So there was the year where actually big box office and critical darlings were sort of the same thing. Not so this year, and I predicted it, but a lot of other people did too. So there was big box office winners on the one hand, and then there were the awards movies on the other, and those two stayed very, very separate. And indeed, that's what happened. The very big, the ones that broke box office records, Wicked, Dune Part 2, etc., didn't really do well at the awards at all, except in technical categories. The awards slate centered very much on movies that I personally enjoyed very much, but that not many people watched, like The Brutalist, Flo, Honora, which I didn't mention, and Emilia Perez and The Seed of the Sacred Fig. They all did really well, and again, not that many people watched them. So yes, I did say that not a pretty safe. At that point in the year, pretty safe prediction that The Brutalist would do well. And we talked about the fact that it had been done on a very small budget, and it did in fact do well. And I talked about my favorite movies of the year, which was Seed of a Sacred Fig and All We Imagine Is Light. They both ended up as sort of indie critic darlings and did well in the European art house market, which won't surprise you. And I talked about Flow, and Flow did actually win a lot of perks for animated movie. And this year there is an almost not quite equivalent, but there's a lovely French animation movie called Arco, which I really enjoyed. And I hope does okay in various markets, because it's those little pearls have to be protected, I think. But Flow did very well. There were some lovely speeches by their creators on stage who, were the first. Was it Latvian? First Latvians to ever win a major prize, and it was very lovely. I think that's what I said. I don't feel like I took a lot of risk or went out on any sort of limbs. But I think overall we did okay, didn't we, Maureen?
We did okay, actually.
I agree.
Yes.
I agree.
A couple of things, that we missed, but we didn't. No, it wasn't disastrous. It was great this year. We did.
It wasn't disastrous.
Badly.
No, it wasn't disastrous.
What do you mean?
That's a very British way of putting it, wasn't it?
I'll tell you, the one thing we didn't predict, and we could have, I think we just didn't really come across, it was that Disney would fully acquire Hulu. I think it was already being mooted as a possibility, but I don't think we talked about it in the predictions.
Not in the predictions, but throughout the year, I think we commented on it.
Yeah,
yes, for sure.
That definitely counts.
Yeah.
I mean, we've got the overall tally from AI.
Yes, we do.
Yeah, so shall I reveal it?
Yes.
So AI said, wicked predictions, nice one. So I think that was the Liam Gallagher LLM was feeding that. So you did very well. So the overall tally was 36 predictions. Correct predictions, 29.
That's pretty good.
That's not bad.
Yeah, I think that includes my predictions that, if you recall, was President Trump would continue to be interested in golf, the sky would remain blue, and Tottenham Hotspur would win a European trophy. So I got those three right. So yes, of the 30,
and we thank you for your contribution, Oliver.
Well, no, it's really nothing.
Oliver, thank you so much.
It's really nothing. Yes. Thank you so much. So 36, 29 right out of 36.
That's not bad.
Yeah, and 4 were kind of neutral. So not absolutely wrong, and only 3 things wrong, which I think is absolutely superb. So congrats to you. And in terms of who's done best, AI says Claire wins on structural themes. So things like retail media, scripted crisis, franchise fatigue. Love franchise fatigue. It's a great phrase. And Maureen wins on category details, Netflix ads, virtual production, and aura, etc. So I've come up with a point system, and you get 1 point if you win on structural themes, and 1 point if you win on category details. So if I add that up, it's a draw. Oh, that's appropriate. That's good. I think that's right. Yeah, I think that's right.
No, I think the winner is you, Oliver, for being such a brilliant producer.
For being so patient with us as well.
Yes,
I
you're
reluctantly
so patient
accept.
with us. Yes.
Not at all. It's an absolute pleasure to listen to you. It is every week, and this one was a brilliant one. So congratulations on coming first each, according to AI. They're really good predictions, and that was fun. And we'll do it again. So the next one predictions for 2026. Then
yes, it is.
Really.
We're going to be working through the Christmas break. We?
Yes.
We're not.
We are indeed.
We're going to be working through that, and then we'll do a predictions episode in early January. They are, expected by now, and people will be waiting for them.
Well, waiting they are. Yeah, we're waiting.
I think it's a tradition. I think it is a tradition. I think we've got enough now.
Mince pies and prediction episodes. Yeah,
mince pies and the media beat predictions. That's right. Like the Queen's speech we all used to sit down for. They'll be like, quiet, everyone, family, be quiet. It's the predictions episode of the Media Beat. Sit down.
Well, we did find out that some people got together and group listened to the podcast recently. So clearly,
we should say hi to those folks.
Yeah, can you listen separately, please?
Tell us all log in individually and download the episode so our stats look better.
Oh, look, increasingly better, because they are good.
Even better.
Yes.
Or like a silent disco, all put your headphones on and listen to your Spotify and then click play at the same time. We're okay with that. And then we get a lovely bump in our listenership, which is going very well anyway. So thank you so much, and comment on LinkedIn. So that's it. So it only remains for me to say, Maureen, goodbye, Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Goodbye, Oliver. Goodbye, Claire. Merry Christmas to both of you and Happy New Year. And can't wait to speak to you all again in 2026, including our lovely listeners.
And to Claire, same. I can't remember what it is now. And it's Bon Anniversaire? No, that's good anniversary. I'll just say English.
Joyeux fête, Oliver. Joyeux Noël, bonne année, and a very, very happy season of joy for everybody listening and for both of you. And looking forward to 2026.
Beautifully said. Nothing more to say. Bye-bye 2025 and bye-bye for now.